What made your military medic refuse to treat someone? Our medic, Staff Sergeant Marcus Webb, treated everyone. Taliban fighters, local civilians, enemy combatants bleeding out from our own bullets. Never refused medical care to anyone in 3 deployments. Until that night in Helmand Province, September 2010. Convoy hit by a complex ambush. IED followed by coordinated small arms fire from multiple positions. Classic Taliban tactics. We took casualties immediately. Private Jackson caught shrapnel in his leg. Sergeant Davis took a round through the shoulder. Nothing fatal, but they needed immediate attention. Webb was already working on Jackson when Afghan National Army soldiers brought in a wounded insurgent. Guy had been shooting at us from a compound roof, took return fire, fell 2 stories, broke his back, paralyzed from the waist down, internal bleeding. Without surgery, he'd die within hours. Webb glanced over, saw the guy's condition, went back to treating Jackson. Standard triage. Treat your own first, then enemy wounded. But then I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The insurgent was wearing Jackson's dog tags around his neck. Jackson was still breathing, still conscious, still wearing his body armor. How did this guy get hold of American dog tags? Webb saw them too. His hand stopped moving, just stared at those tags for a long moment. Where did you get those? Webb asked through our interpreter. The insurgent smiled, started talking in Pashto. Our interpreter went pale, shook his head. I cannot translate this. What did he say? Webb demanded. Interpreter looked around nervously. He says he took them from American soldier he captured last month. Says he did things to him before he died. Describes torture. Very bad things. Webb stood up slowly, looked at those dog tags again. The insurgent kept talking, laughing between words of pain. He says American soldiers scream like women when you cut them. The interpreter continued reluctantly. Says he has videos, sells them to other fighters. That's when Webb noticed something else. A GoPro camera attached to the insurgent's vest, still recording. Webb reached over, turned off the camera, pulled out the memory card, scrolled through the footage on the camera's screen. What he saw there broke something inside him. I could see it in his eyes. The videos showed things that violated every rule of war, every standard of human decency. Webb pocketed the memory card, looked down at the insurgent who was still smiling despite bleeding internally. Fix him, our captain ordered. Geneva Convention requires medical treatment for all wounded. Webb shook his head. Not this one, sir. Some lines you don't cross. Captain got angry. That's not your call, Sergeant. Treat him now. That's an order. Webb stared at the insurgent for another long moment. Then he walked over to his medical bag, pulled out a morphine syringe and injected it into the guy's arm. But instead of starting IV fluids or prepping for medevac, Webb just sat back and watched. What are you doing? The captain demanded. Providing comfort care, sir. Making him comfortable while he dies. Medical treatment implies intent to preserve life. I have no such intent. The insurgent died 20 minutes later. Internal bleeding just like Webb predicted. Captain filed a complaint. Military investigation followed. Webb got an Article 15, lost a stripe, forfeited pay. But the memory card he'd taken contained evidence of war crimes, led to the capture of 3 high-value targets and shut down a propaganda network that had been torturing captured Americans. Webb transferred to a different unit after that. Never talked about what happened. But word spread through the medical corps. 3 months later, Taliban stopped taking American prisoners in that sector. They'd execute them quickly instead of torturing them. Webb's refusal to treat one monster saved future captives from prolonged suffering. Military ethics aren't always black and white. Sometimes the greater good requires smaller betrayals of principle. Webb finished his career as a civilian paramedic, saved thousands of lives. But he never spoke about the one life he chose not to save. Some decisions haunt you forever. Others just make you sleep better at night.